Mic was muted. Whoops. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived for the third and fourth rounds of the ARC Supercars Championship. This week takes us to Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And we have a little bit of a waning starting grid tonight, as it would seem. Not exactly sure why. Well, I mean, I know why for a couple of cases, but, you know. We had 11 last night, and the numbers are already tapering off to 7. Not fantastic by any means. We're about a couple minutes into qualifying due to having difficulties starting the stream, and then, you know, failing to notice, oh, my mic wasn't on yet. But no laps have even been begun yet, because Circuit of the Americas is such a long circuit. Laps here are going to be well over 2 minutes long, so the first driver who will begin their lap, assuming they didn't just get yelled at by the stewards for that penultimate corner, Mr. Jurgensmeyer in the 29 vehicle. He will take the start line. He will begin the first flying lap of the evening here from COTA. Heavy braking into one. But Apex is there somewhere. Jurgensmeyer has not found it, and he has instead found a massive oversteer, but AJ has validated his lap before it's even begun. I think Jurg just quit on that one. We're right on board with Luke Allen instead, then, as he will brake for turn 1. I didn't really see who was behind Jurgensmeyer, though. Right on board with Allen as he heads towards the S's that feel like a breeze in something like an F1 car, but in a big boat like this, you start to feel every inch of the S's, especially if you clip those curves. The curves on this game are known to be pretty lethal at times, and few tracks have a worse problem with it than Circuit of the Americas. Any curb on this entire track just about has a risk of spinning you or grabbing you and pulling you off the circuit limits. As Luke almost just found out right there. He got a little tire on the curb and it tried to pull him off the racetrack. He heads down onto the back straightaway, or rather heads up, since it's an uphill segment of the circuit. This track feels like a mini roller coaster, as a certain McLaren F1 team driver once commented. Straightaway like that does kind of necessitate low downforce on the rear, but you also kind of want some downforce on the rear because these cars will be very fishtailing. I can tell Luke Allen doesn't have a whole lot of downforce, as he's having to catch the car out of literally every one of these turns. Or just about every single one. Close enough. As, meanwhile on the map, whoever was the first to start their lap is about to finish it. And that was Dylan... No, Dylan was on an out lap. It was Luis Ramirez. He runs a 2:02.1. So I guess it wasn't as far beyond 2-minute laps as I thought they were. I thought they were going to be 2:04s, 2:05s. But if Luis is running a 2:02, Dylan probably has a chance of breaking into the 1:59s, knowing him. 2:07.4 for Luke Allen. And immediately behind, Dylan already runs a 2:01.5, 5/10 or so clear of his teammate. And Matthew Daly slots neatly behind those with a 2:03.8. Jurgensmeyer is somewhere not on the racetrack. He is spun at the second of the track's hairpins, out of what I'd technically consider to be 5, so... Justin Rott is pitting in. Seems to have abandoned any lap he might have been on, but anybody who's pitting now, I don't think he'll have a chance to get back around and make another run. I don't know why he's pitting that way anyway. There's literally just a button in the pause menu to do that. But nevertheless, AJ, I believe this is an out lap for the Canadian. Not sure. He might have stayed out after invalidating his initial attempt. I don't know how quick he was in getting out of the pits, but I guess we'll see when he goes over the start-finish here. Well, I mean, it was a lap, but a 2:12 is probably not representative, I would tend to hope. He's going to meet somebody on the exit of the pit lane. He's going to encounter one of the Champ Inc. cars, but he won't really have any sort of... He won't be affected by them too much, based on where they were. Really attacking those curbs there through the S's, but the curbs, they will fight back, as I've been keen to mention thus far. However, the in-game stewards have not yet elected to throw the book at AJ yet, so off he will go into, you know, the rest of the circuit this time. Braking for the second of the track's hairpins. Depending on who you ask, I could also say that this track could have 6 hairpins. Turn 1, turn 12, I think that corner is, onto the back straight. The next turn, at the end of the back straight's a hairpin. And then the first turn of Sector 3 could also be seen as a hairpin. I don't, but it is. I mean, it's kind of like one. And then the corner immediately after that is like a double apex hairpin, and then the last turn is also a hairpin. So, it does leave lots of opportunities for overtaking, but that won't matter if we have the same kind of field spread we had last week at Daytona. Personally, definitely hoping not to have that, especially with a 7-car grid, but just looking at the lap times as they stand at the moment, I'm not particularly holding my breath, especially since it's not really a good idea for somebody with asthma. Also because I have to talk, so, you know, I can't really commentate if I'm not breathing. That in the quote book. AJ Knickel crosses the start-finish line. He runs a 2:03.2, but with a suboptimal Sector 1, I figure there's probably something more in that as we tick down to the final minute or so of this qualifying session. So everybody's getting their final attempts in now. That cough was not fun. Jurgensmeyer runs a 2:08.7. That's, not represent. I don't know if that's representative, honestly, or not. 2:18.6 for Justin Raw, but he is crucially going to get another run. I mean, yeah, that was definitely not lap, because I watched him come out of the pits. So, let's check in with our provisional pole sitter of Dylan Bam, who's up by about 3/10 in Sector 1 alone. Meanwhile, his teammate is on the opposite side of the racetrack, heading towards the triple apex right-hander. Progressing his way through, off the circuit though, and the stewards didn't like that. He has invalidated his lap times 6 separate times, and he's not even going to get back across the line in time to try again, even if that didn't invalidate both. So I believe that is the qualifying session over for Luis Ramirez here, unless somehow the game didn't say anything. I mean, I don't think the game was going to ever let that one slide. Dylan's found to 5/10 now, or at least he's up by 5/10 as he reaches the final sector of the racetrack. He's potentially on pace to make a 2-minute flat, but I don't think he's going to get into the 59s like I jokingly projected, unless he performs an actual miracle. Andrew Knickel off the circuit there. He has abandoned his lap time as well, so foreseeably, Dylan Bam already has the pole locked up, and he's basically just going faster, just to flex. Which is the most Dylan thing that Dylan Bam could do, as he seems to do it just about every week. Usually his first lap is good enough for a pole. The second lap is even better. Not quite a 2-minute flat, though, a 2:01.0. Matthew Daly also comes out of the final corner at this time. He will come across the start-finish line. Let's see if he can jump somebody. No improvement. There will be no jumping done today. We are not in London. We are in Austin, Texas. Across the line comes Justin Rott. Let's see if he can at least get competitive. He will. He will jump Jurgensmeyer to get 6th on the grid. And now we only wait for Luis Ramirez. No, I'm dumb. Luke Allen, other L, to finish his final run here, and that will wrap things up from qualifying. At least for the future. Sprint. Really, Riker? The sprint race, because it's the only thing we qualify for, Riker. Luke Allen comes across the line. He finds a second and change over nearly 1.5 seconds. But the skill gap between him and Matthew Daly was so intense that didn't get him any higher on the grid. And so that will conclude matters from the quality session. And, well, it's not going to take too long to do the grid rundown. Now it's 7 cars. And a pace lap here is probably going to be at least 3 minutes. Unless we're under those VSC type speeds, but I don't think we do that. So I get settled in my chair, and we get set up for tonight's sprint round. Which will be interesting because that means the whole grid will get reversed. Because top 8 get flipped, but there's only 7 people, so... And the fake green lights are off, but we have a rolling start to, sort of minimize the ill gains from automatic gearboxes, even though I don't actually know how many people in this race are using one, all things considered. Probably likes a Justin Rott. I think Matthew Daly does, but I know Luke Allen doesn't, and none of the top 3 do, to my knowledge. Certainly Dylan Bam doesn't. He's running in 6th gear on this formation lap. But yeah, the very brief as it is grid rundown. Dylan Bam with another pole position. If I had a nickel for every time I've said that, I could probably get iRacing. Luis Ramirez starts on the front row alongside his teammate / team owner. AJ Knickel will start in 3rd. And his teammate, Matthew Daly, this time in the correct car, the 8, rather than having 2 7s, starts alongside him in 4th place. Luke Allen 5th, Justin Rott 6th, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer with a less than exceptional qualifying performance. He will round off the grid. But Jurgensmeyer has that kind of way of just... He's like Gabe and... sometimes Luke Allen, in that he is pretty good at just having a quiet, isolated race where he just somehow ends up placing high, despite having a very uneventful affair. So, and everybody gets points. Even in the sprint round, everybody will get something out of this, so hopefully we shouldn't at least lose too many cars throughout the runtime of the event, as everybody will be incentivized to at least reach the flag to, to score something from both rounds. But I do expect to see probably an odd caution or 2 at least, even with a smaller field, just because Circuit of the Americas can be a demanding circuit, especially if you're not in a high downforce race car. If you're in an F1 car, or even something like an LMP1, this track is, I don't want to say easy, but it's not exactly the most difficult thing. But in anything else that's got less downforce than that, even an LMP2 or 3, much less a V8 supercar with no adjustable front splitter or anything, yeah, Circuit of the Americas can be difficult, and Project Cars 2's curb physics only exacerbate that. Because we should be doubling up any minute now and getting ready for the start of the Circuit of the Americas Super Sprint Round. Never mind, we are not. So we were waving off the start, I guess somehow two cars hit each other and I never even noticed. Okay, 4 cars hit each other. How in the world? How in the world did I miss that? Alright, so I guess now it's going to be a 7-lap race. So my grandma yawns upstairs, as much as it didn't sound like a yawn. I swear that's what it was. So I'm sure my microphone picked that up, because the microphone I had used up till last week, the mic went out on it a couple of nights ago, so I have a replacement, obviously. Actually, I have 4 replacements, although only 2 are really any good. But yeah. If the audio quality is somehow lesser, I know it echoes if I'm in parties with people, or at least so I've been told. So hopefully that won't be too big of a problem, but I'm doing the best with what I have available to me. I don't exactly get paid, so I can't exactly justify some kind of professional headset or anything. Professional headset. Like high quality headset. I'm just sitting here with $12 earbuds that my mom bought me from Walmart. I don't even have F123, or nor do I have the Heat 5 like next gen update, because I'm all out of money. So yeah, take that into consideration. Did Ramirez get damaged again? How in the hell? Well, I hope we're not waving it off a second time. We've only got so many laps to do in this race. This is not the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix. Oh, shut up, stomach. One thing I do find interesting, even though we waived the start off, drivers that pit didn't get their places back, so now the front row literally looks completely different, other than DIVEBOMB, because it's Matthew Daly starting on the outside pole. And then Jurgensmeyer, Luke Allen, Justin Rott, AJ Knickel, and Luis Ramirez, who will effectively start this race from the pit lane. As, yeah, DIVEBOMB is in second gear, so he does intend to floor it here. And we are anticipating, we are green from the Circuit of the Americas sprint round. Justin Rott tried some NASCAR bump draft tactics to give Jurg an advantage, but Dylan delayed the start, and we make it to turn 1, looks like pretty cleanly. Teammates too wide ahead of Luke Allen, as Jurgensmeyer did get a good start. He gets to second ahead of Daly into turn 1. And actually, Matthew Daly really got mugged there, because his teammate also got by him. Jurgensmeyer is taking a new lane, a new line, I should say. And that will lose him 3 places for missing that corner. Meanwhile, in the background, Justin Rott, I think, had a half spin. And he's already been overtaken by Luis Ramirez, who started this race effectively from the pit lane. AJ with a little bit of a squiggle coming down the hill, but it's not going to be enough for Matthew Daly to capitalize on. Now we head on to the back straightaway. Jurgensmeyer sideways in the back of the screen. Bottom of the screen, I mean. And DIVEBOMB has already claimed a 2-second or so lead over everybody else. Just through 2 sectors of racetrack. This camera is really good, game. I really like it. I wish I could see what's going on. That was stupid. And here's the ground, in case you were wondering what the floor looks like. Dumb. Excuse me. Everybody has a different way of attacking most of these hairpins. We're just out there, Daly and AJ Nickel, despite having the same car, the same setup, and being teammates, had a very different approach to that hairpin there. Turning in late, or focusing on exit, braking early, clipping the apex, or taking a wide berth. There are lots of ways to skin a cat here at Circuit of the Americas, and especially so in closed cockpit machines. It's less so in F1, but here you do have that sort of freedom of choice. Is there a right answer? I mean, I've never really known. There probably is. It must be whatever DIVEBOMB is doing, as he's already claimed a 3-second lead after a single lap of racing. Matthew Daly is keeping the pressure on his team owner as we head through the S's into Sector 2 of the circuit. And he's about the only driver getting near anybody at the moment. The field's already started to spread out a little bit by a little bit. Ramirez is getting closer to Luke Allen, I think, as he's had traffic to deal with for the first lap. And he's not too far away from Luke Allen as we head on to the back straightaway. And head on board with Luis Ramirez. He tries to track down the LA7 machine of Allen. That hairpin only really has one way to make it. Just kind of hit the inside apex. But you can see Luke making a late apex, more so focused on the second than the first of that double right. And then the double left, ironically, it's Ramirez who takes that approach. And that worked tremendously well for the one car. Oh, Luke has gone all the way off. He has oversteered. He has overcorrected the car, and he is around in the triple apex. He recovers in time to stay in third. Fifth, I can't talk. And he is clearly, a little frazzled at the moment. Still in fifth, but he won't be getting near fourth anytime in the near future, something tells me. Matthew Daly is still right there on his teammate as DIVEBOMB finds another 3 seconds over AJ Nickel on that lap to bring the lead up to almost 6 seconds. But Daly will have to keep Ramirez in mind. He's approaching very quickly. He is very likely the second fastest car on the racetrack other than his own teammate. And the 44R duo are going to probably want to keep that in mind going forward. As we cross what is, well, according to the UI on the screen, the halfway mark of this race. But in all reality, this is what is essentially lap 3 of 7. And now second, third, and fourth, all equally spaced apart. As we head on to the back straightaway, 8/10 separating all three vehicles. And Luke Allen staring longingly from about 3 back. Ramirez with a good run from the second hairpin of the circuit, but he certainly had no hope of taking it anywhere into a corner like this. The long the run to the next turn wasn't long enough. There we go. My throat is already putting up resistance to me speaking. Which is not a good sign, because we're not even near done today. I have a water bottle next to me, but apparently it's only doing so much. NASCAR has started to regulate his lap times, or rather DIVEBOMB I think had a slow lap there, only running a 2:03. He still gained on AJ, the gap is now up to 6.5 seconds, but it wasn't nearly as much as he had been doing. Or perhaps it's possible that DIVEBOMB are just sort of in secure mode and he's not pushing the car, because I suppose if I had a 6.5 second lead, I wouldn't be either. We do, meanwhile, have a battle going on for, well, not last. Jurgensmeyer has caught back up to Justin Rott. The side of my head continues to be really itchy. It's kind of irritating me. The trackside camera lazily pans over to reveal our battle for second place, although it's not much of a battle right now. I expect/hope that it will get a little more competitive once we get to the last lap or two. Oh, Ramirez isn't waiting that long, actually, as if I spoke it into existence. Come on, camera! Great, there was an overtake there, not that you could see it, because the trackside camera was really focused on this tarmac in front of us. Oh, that wasn't even Matthew Daly. That was AJ Knickel that went around her there at the hairpin, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't flip and tell. He's around again. He clipped the curb on the inside of the next hairpin, and now he's back down behind Luke Allen. Now Ramirez with a modicum of clean air for even just a minute. Actually, that's not true. He's been behind Matthew Daly this whole time. I am spreading all kinds of misinformation today. I don't know what is wrong with me. Luke Allen gets a time penalty as well. He and Knickel both have time penalties, although I imagine they're both just... Oh, they're both 2 seconds. Also, yeah, so... How have I not known you can do that? What the heck? Doesn't matter, because I can just scroll to the other window. Oh, I thought he was passing him for a second. I was like, what are you doing? Not here. No, that's just the camera angle again. I'm really tempted to just go on to a bonnet cam, a roof cam full time, because these trackside cameras, they're giving me a mental breakdown. Looks to have been a much better run from that second hairpin for Ramirez. Matthew Daly is going to hold the far inside of the racetrack, force that one car as long around as possible. He brake for the second or third hairpin of the racetrack. Who will come out on top? It's going to be Matthew Daly with that inside, but Ramirez is still there. Now that's the inside for him. Does Matthew get a cutback? Just about, but it's not really much, because the next corner is still a left-hander. Oh, but Ramirez is wide. Matthew Daly sees the invitation, but he cannot attend the party. And finally, we have an overtake on track, on speed. Took total the third to last lap, but Ramirez has put himself into second place, making things a 1-2 affair for Champ Inc. at the moment. Matthew Daly had a bit of a look at the exit of the penultimate turn. He did get a good run out of the last turn, though. Doesn't seem like it, or at least not good enough. Slipstream will do something, though. But it'll be a bit of a desperation send. Matthew Daly, he thought about it. He tried to fool Ramirez. But he wasn't fooled by much. And are going to continue to be bumper to bumper as we head back to the S's. Meanwhile, AJ Knickel trying to find a way back around Luke Allen. And Luke really slow through that corner before the S's. They're going to go too wide in the entryway of them. That's a tight fit for two Ford Falcons. Luke is hanging on the inside, both drivers avoiding each other and the curbs. AJ gets ahead. Can he stay there? Does Luke play the long game and cut back on the AJ? No, he doesn't. He doesn't cut back on the AJ. As we head towards the second hairpin, does Allen have the run here? Oh, he certainly does. Back to the inside as the 11, but he locks up at the apex. And AJ Knickel will get away with it there. We have another battle. Making 7 look like 15 out here at the end of the sprint round here. Also too wide through the S's, a pair of yellow cars, flight of the Bumblebees as we head towards the second sector. Very wide is, I believe, Jurgensmeyer. And that was certainly a rejoin. I think Rod had to cut him a break there just to avoid a collision. Do we have a continued battle into the second hairpin? It certainly looks that way. Here comes Rot down the inside. And he gets that move. He gets, I think, back to P6. I don't remember if he was there before or not. Jurg does have the better exit. It's not by much, but it's an honest run. All of the slipstream. Justin Rott has changed lanes 3 separate times. Jurg's going to go around the outside, super late braking. He has found sand and a barrier. That maneuver has not worked. Even though Justin Rott himself had a bit of an error, and he's actually going to not even get the place. He's going to lose that spot to somebody who didn't even make the braking zone. Meanwhile, Dylan Bam is already a third of the way through the final lap, while these two are battling to place not last, somewhere in the third sector of the racetrack. Honestly, I kind of committed an F1 here. He got so far ahead that I sort of forgot Dylan Bam was even in the race. He's just not been... He's been an NPC. Or more specifically, probably more like that unnamed great evil way off in the mountains somewhere that isn't relevant to the plot yet, but it will be later. Dylan Bam has not been relevant to this race's plot, but he's also the main character, so it's... I don't know. I guess that's why storytelling tropes don't work when it comes to a motor race. Each race tells a story, but that doesn't mean they follow typical story writing tropes. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Can you tell? I should say I know what I'm talking about. I know how writing works, and I know how racing works. Combining the two doesn't usually work. But what has worked is Dylan Bam's driving. Only 2 more corners left for him to make. And Dylan Bam will seal the deal from the Circuit of the Americas Super Sprint. Final turn. And the first battle goes to Champ Inc. Dylan Bam will take the W. And some 8.5 seconds later, at least it's not a minute like it was last week in the Daytona Sprint with the rain, around comes his teammate to take second. But the race for everybody else, still going. Including, especially, for our 2 Bumblebees here. Back to turn 12, I think. Jurgensmeyer also again off the circuit, but he does at least keep it off the barrier and out of the sand. But Justin Rott didn't miss that hairpin, and therefore gets back to 6th place. Crossover attempt, not allowed. Crossover attempt. No. Justin Rott. It's a mental break. Where is Jurgens? They've both missed the final hairpin. What? Braking is difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Matthew Daly got 3rd in the background, but Justin Rott and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, I mean, only one of them came last, but I feel like both of them feel like they've lost. They've certainly lost their braking points, if nothing else, but Justin Rott is going to head through the last turn. He's going to make it this corner, and he's going to hang on to 6th in one of the most topsy-turvy battles for a position I've ever commentated in my life. What's going on back there? And as such, they just about finish as they started. The only difference being Justin Rott dropping twice to last place with a time penalty that might get revoked. But the top two finish as they started. The 44 cars are 3 and 4, but their order has been switched. AJ making that mistake in the midpoint of the race. But Matthew Daly not really making any. He just didn't have the speed to keep up with the why am I doing that? So the Champ Inc. cars, not the Dylan Inc. cars. I mean, there have been seasons where it's felt like Dylan Incorporated, but this season, Luis Ramirez is not slacking either, so I don't really know why I would make that mistake other than because I'm an idiot. And as the lobby host and such, everybody gets the feature race set up. Quick intermission so that I'm not coughing through the whole darn thing. I see Luis Ramirez does have an adoring fan in the stream comments. Everybody's just getting their setups and strategies finalized for the feature round. I wish I knew that language. I do not speak Espanol. At least I can only assume it's Espanol. I mean, I tend to assume Luis is from Venezuela. That's probably some version of it, right? As everybody pulls away, everybody is getting the grid formed for the reverse grid feature round here. So that will put Justin Rott on pole and Jurgensmeyer on the outside pole. Outside pole. Enunciate your words, me. Luke Allen, third. Matthew Daly, fourth. How did I skip AJ? AJ Knickel, fourth, excuse me. Matthew Daly, fifth. Luis Ramirez, sixth. Dylan Bam starts last, but considering the pace these two showed, I don't think they'll have too many issues getting back to the lead as long as they don't get themselves into any undue trouble. And, a 15-lap feature race awaits us. With any luck, they'll be half as exciting as the last 4 from the sprint round. Can't really expect all action all the time. That would just be unrealistic. I, again, don't know what that means. I'm not even gonna. I don't think I'm allowed to mention that on the stream that I just saw in the in my tablet's notifications, but anyway, we should be doubling up. I think the 2 leaders are already ready to do that as it is, and we will get underway from the feature round here. Double the length of the sprint, and then some, since, well, we had that race start issue. We are doubled up as we head through the triple apex of, I think it's 16, 17, 18. Process of elimination. I think there's 20 turns here, so it makes sense. One more dry cough out of the way, as our field makes its way out of the final turn. Justin Rott has control of when he hits the gas. He has hit the gas. The future from Coda is green. As we take the start-finish line, already in the background we see movement. Ramirez trying to find the best lane he can find. He's going to go down the inside. I think that was 4 wide for a second. Somehow, there was slight contact with Luke Allen, and that sends the 1 car into a spin. That might have been netcode. I couldn't really tell. It probably was, considering Luis Ramirez's internet is not amazing. Nearly contact here for 5th as well. There is contact, in fact. Luke Allen rejoins the circuit into the side of Matthew Daly. He's forced to escape track limits just to avoid clobbering Luke on the way back and collecting both of them and spinning them both out. They still go 2 wide as we exit the S's. More bumping, beating, and banging. Some proper touring car racing, and I suppose that's not out of reach for something like Fiat Supercars. Meanwhile, I kind of wasn't even looking at the splits at the lead. Dylan Bam makes a decisive move, but it doesn't matter. AJ Knickel got the better run off and slipstream off Jurgensmeyer's car. He gets back to second. Meanwhile, it will be Luke Allen losing that battle to Matthew Daly, but he might still win the war. There's 2 battles going on, and the camera's not looking at either flipping one of them. Oh, I hate this trackside camera so much. I want blood. Luis Ramirez is already looking at 4th place again, and he's going to get it. He's going to outbrake Matthew Daly. Luke Allen, I think, made a mistake at that hairpin. The battle for the lead's not decided yet either. Jurgensmeyer's hanging on for dear life. AJ Knickel nearly understeers into the sprint race winner of Dylan Bam. They'll still be 2 wide as they can head towards the final corners. Big contact. AJ Knickel forced off circuit. He rejoins just behind Dylan Bam. He's going to try the outside of the 2 car. Did he get a better run off there? I believe he might have done. The battle for 4th place is settled out. Ramirez wins a battle that originally was started by Allen and Daly. Sending it is the 7 of Knickel down the inside of the North Dakota native. He just lets that happen. He will cut him back on the exit. They will continue to be too wide as we head up to the S's. AJ Knickel is going to be on the back foot on the outside of the entry. Oh, but Dylan Bam gets a massive twitch. And he's going to be forced to concede that, I would say. And so it goes. AJ Knickel slightly elbows out, but also just capitalizing on Dylan Bam being a little unsteady in traffic. It's probably, this is the first time he's had to be around somebody else on the racetrack all night. So it's a learning experience, especially when you're too wide through a section of the track that isn't really the best place to be too wide with somebody if you can ever help it, which would be the S's. Jurgensmeyer exits the hairpin and immediately tries breaking the slipstream, but I think that's but a fool's errand. Although I don't really know if he has to worry about that, as Dylan Bam is going to get probably back up to and down the inside. Oh yeah, he's going all the way over. As long as he doesn't intercept at the apex. He doesn't intercept Jurg. He was never even close to doing that, actually. AJ and Dylan still battling for second. This battle has gone on for a considerable length of time. AJ is still leading the 2-car. Ramirez is going to go down the inside of his team owner as Dylan Bam goes wide at another consecutive hairpin. But he won't be able to stay with him. With some space between himself and Dylan Bam, AJ Knickel is finally able to make a play for the race lead against Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and maybe try and put a vehicle between him and the Champ Inc. duo, which are not far away. Dylan Bam with a huge wiggle, and Ramirez has to take evasive action. That's going to lose them even more time. But AJ's not close enough. He's not going to have a chance. He's not that desperate. Are they swapping places at Champ Inc? It seems that they are. Ramirez heads to third place over his teammate, clearly with the better handling, but not the better speed. Dylan thinks about it, but he can't hang around the outside just there. I'm going roof cam. Never mind, no I'm not. What the hell is going on? Ramirez is, okay, we're going on board with AJ Knickel. I can't tell what in God's name is going on there. In the words of one Luke Allen, what the goodness. Oh, very sideways for Jurgensmeyer. That's opening the door for the Canadian driver, to say the least. Ramirez in the background spun out, I think. I'm fairly certain. Down the inside, the Canadian goes. The trackside camera is continuing to be an absolute pain in my ass. Language. Apologies. An absolute pain in the butt. And AJ Knickel did not complete the move into the second hairpin. He is still behind the 29 of Jurgensmeyer. He's going to try again, but to no avail in the third hairpin. I really should look at a track map. Jurgensmeyer is wide somehow. I thought he made that perfectly fine, but I guess not. AJ up 6/10 on the first lap. He's not behind Dylan Bam. Do with that information as you shall. But AJ's still not finding a way around the 29 of Jurgensmeyer either. Which surprises me. I don't know, I don't even want to say that Jurg's been, defensive. He's just kind of vibing, and he's just so happening to drive well enough to keep 2 of the 3 fastest cars at bay for the time being. It's been nothing. It's partly been quiet, as I projected in the pre-race stuff. Jurgensmeyer, he's been no more than a second or 2 ahead of the leader at any point since the flag flew. Or the green flag, I should specify. I thought he was a little sideways there. He manages to get it woed down for T1. And at this point, Jurgensmeyer's best friend has to be Dylan Bam, because Dylan's insistence on getting by AJ, because this is a motor race at the end of the day, has been a very helpful thing, as he's going to go back right at the Canadian driver. These two are in an alliance, by the way. You wouldn't think it, as they've been racing each other tooth and nail for every inch of the racetrack, and even some that's not on the racetrack, as they continue to make connections with their doors and fenders. AJ is again forced off the racing surface by Dylan Bam, as they, I believe, made door-to-door contact. There's also a battle for not last going on. That's an interesting line from Luke Allen, and Justin Rott will go to 6th place. I don't know where he was before, but he's there now. Now almost a second clear is Juergensmeyer. AJ Knickel, I think, had to defend from Dylan Bam there. That almost led to him just spiking the apex, pretty much. Bam will try the outside at the 4th hairpin-ish. That's not going to work. Try the outside again. Late apex maneuver. Sideways. Nothing doing there. He will remain in 3rd for the time being, but he's he's sticking his foot in the door every time it's left open. He hasn't walked through it yet, but eventually AJ Knickel is either going to slam the door on his foot or let him inside, and there's nothing he can do about it. I can't believe I made that analogy work. Man is sideways out of just about every corner. I don't know what brand makes the tires these cars use, but they better be durable for Dylan Bam's sake. Nothing doing at turn 1. AJ Knickel defends on the entry, or possibly he got sideways on the entry. It was hard to tell from that camera angle. But it's once again cracked the door open, and here comes Dylan Bam to stick his foot in as a doorstop. Peeks to the outside, nothing. AJ Knickel runs wide. The pressure is immense from the North Dakota native. I believe. Is it North or South? They're all the same thing. I know, bold of me to say, from Minnesota, but still. Attempt at the outside again. He just keeps sticking his car there. He's trying to find any weakness that he can against the 7 car. Oh my God, what a save! He is still saving it. He has not saved it. He is around down the hill. He almost saved that, but the elevation change has, well, it slammed the door on his foot, or maybe he slammed the door on his own foot. And just like that, AJ, the second that he is clear of Dylan Bam, the second he no longer has that filling his mirrors, he's down on the left side of Juergensmeyer. As we head up towards the 2nd hairpin on the lap. 3rd hairpin, I mean. Turn 1 is a hairpin, Riker. Will the move be finished this time? Juergensmeyer forced wide. AJ understeers at the apex. That looks like that is a negatory, Ghost Rider. Never mind, Juergensmeyer loops it himself. Repeat of the feature of the sprint. God darn it. It's not that hard of a concept. Sprint then feature, Riker. Juergensmeyer is around, and that's a second driver that has spun trying to battle AJ Knickel. It's not even like there's been anything to cause it. It's just pressure. Oh, actually, I don't know about that. Dylan Bam was behind AJ when he spun. He pressured himself, if nothing else. There's still battles going on. Ramirez has entered the picture. Juergensmeyer spun again in the triple apex section. And Allen in the 11 is still trying to find a way by Justin Rott. You might have just found it. Dylan Bam pits. There is a mandatory pit stop in the future races, and Dylan will be the first person to crack that open. Luke Allen will join him in the pit lane, as we'll see if the undercut does anything. Luke Allen probably just hopes to get ahead of Justin Rott with it if he can run good laps after pitting. Just like that, all is quiet in the AutoRacingConnected house. Yeah, I just made a Christmas reference. In November, call me Walmart. I am so unhinged tonight. I don't know what is going on. On one hand, hey, you can't say I don't sound excited. On the other hand, I sound neurotic. These two are at it again, battling for 4th place this time around. Dylan's not here. That's Juergensmeyer, Riker. Where did you ever get an indication that Dylan Bam was a part of this bottle? This bottle? Ah! I am so fired. My God. No, I'm not. Nobody else cares to commentate this league. This series, I should say. There's plenty of commentary in other series, just not Project Cars. Oh, boy. A little peeky at the outside of Juergensmeyer. Who spins it? They both... Nope, this time Justin Rott doesn't spin it. Jurg spins for the 3rd time. to my knowledge, in 2 laps. Buddy, you might want to look at that brake bias, because I don't think it's correct. Oh, but the law of equivalent exchange, Justin Rott spins a handful of turns later, and Jurgensmeyer gets back to 4th place. And now the 2 leaders, the 2 44R cars, make their pit stops. We'll see if Ramirez matches. He does. Is everybody else except for the bottom 2 going to pit on this occasion? Might very well be. I don't think Jurgensmeyer can get down there. No. The 2 bumblebees, as I have begun to call them here, of Jurgensmeyer and Justin Rott. Jurg has missed several corners in a row. But he is going to take the provisional race, or not the provisional, he's going to take the race lead, but provisionally, I don't remember who was second net. AJ was the leader, then he pit. And he's clear of Dylan Bam by a good margin. So that's his main rival. That's his main threat at the moment. Luke Allen has to pit again, for reasons unknown. My voice is dying, as again, Jurgensmeyer misses a turn. Around the outside, the 52 car goes. It's as smooth as you like it. Justin Rott is the new race leader. I must be honest, I didn't know if I'd be saying that today. Jurgensmeyer's not having it down the inside. I don't think there's any way he gets that stopped. He got that stopped. Huh? Doesn't matter. Justin Rott has such a better exit because he made the hairpin like a normal person, but I guess maybe it does matter. Jurg's getting back ahead of the 52 car on the straightaway. Maybe that's the problem, though. Maybe he doesn't have much downforce, and that's why he's missed. I am so tired of that. Oh, I'm so tired of these trackside cameras just staring off into space. Jurg is quite wide. That's not the line you want to take through there. Justin Rott got it much better. Oh my goodness, Jurgensmeyer. No pit stop for the 29. And the 52 probably is waiting for Jurg to pit. They'll be too wide, banging doors for some reason as we head across the stripe to take the halfway mark of the race. And all the while, AJ Knickel is catching rapidly. 2-minute 10 lap for them, a 2-minute 11 for AJ on an outlap. But, I mean, the gap's come down from 7 to 4 since the start of the lap. They're still battling away, and that's only helping AJ's case. Jurgensmeyer returns to the race lead. But he's having a goofy section here in the S's. Justin Rott is taking them as planned. Tries the outside again? There's no way. Okay, no, I'm looking at the wrong car. Is he gonna get the outside again? There's not space for that. More door contact. More door contact. I'm waiting for somebody to score a takedown. Ready for some road rage action? My God. Into the lead, the 52 takes it back, and he spins and gets bonked by Jurgensmeyer, which actually fixes his direction. Jurg will get back to the lead, and here come the leaders. They've rejoined, well, they're here to take the lead back, even though they would have it when these two pit. But apparently, they don't have the ability to wait that long. Ramirez is also not too far away from Matthew Daly in the background of the shot. I am so tired of that transition. There are no words. Down the inside, AJ Knickel goes. Justin Rott really not putting up much of a fight. It's not really his race. It's not his problem without a safety car. He's not being so kind to Dylan Bam, though. He's forcing him to take a compromised line through the triple apex. That's going to really help AJ Knickel get the two car off of him. I mean, once again, look. As around goes Justin Rott, and into the pits goes Jurgensmeyer. So AJ Knickel will finally get back to the position he was technically in this whole time, the race lead. Rott will also pit, making him the final car to do so in this race. And now we have the top two within a second. Me, Gassy, not that you really need to know that, and Ramirez right on the back of Matthew Daly. It's the same four that we seem to always get near the front here in, well, the second half of 2023. At least for Project Cars, it's definitely been these four. The 44R and Champ Inc. show. I prefer the Death and Resurrection show myself, but unfortunately that can't be had because we left that behind in 2004. If you know that reference, congratulations, you had a childhood and you're not less than 15 years old. Dylan Bam, back down the inside. There, he has turned AJ Knickel right around at the... that looked bad right there. And he's driving on with it. I don't know what to think on that one. That looked criminal. And now AJ Knickel is back with his teammate and Dylan's teammate, Ramirez, fighting to stay in second place as we head towards the third hairpin at, I believe, turn 10. And Ramirez is going to take the opportunity. Contact made at the apex, although not nearly as much as we saw at the last hairpin. AJ slides it in on the inside of Ramirez. Understeers and oversteers at the same time. Oh, a huge send from Ramirez. That was never going to work. He never had the grip for that. And Matthew Daly is going to sneak his way right through the madness of AJ versus Luis. AJ will remain in third after that. And now it's up to Matthew Daly to try and do something about that 2 car, assuming that AJ Knickel doesn't get back up to him, because he didn't lose that much time. Consider it to what the heck just happened to him. Oh, it has suddenly become a game of Twisted Metal, folks. It has gone from bumper cars to destruction derby. I believe our our Espanol viewer in the corner there might be looking at a delay. At this rate, I'm not mad about a break in the action. Considering what the last, 3 laps have been, I need to get my heart rate back down. Excuse me. Who'd have thought a 7-car race could still be so manic it's a manic Monday, that's for sure. Not a reference I thought I'd ever make, much less in an ARC stream. Oh, I know what that word means. I know that one. Oh yeah, he's got a delay. Or they do. Actually, Valentina, that's a woman. I think that's a female name. I've seen both. Anywho, the gap between Bam and Daly has not changed. It has remained roughly static at about 2.83 seconds, somewhere in that realm. And AJ Knickel's not getting any closer to Daly either. I think we may have stagnated a tiny bit here, unless something crazy happens, but, I mean, you've watched the same race that I've been watching and commentating. Things that are crazy can definitely still happen. You've still got, 5 laps to go. I can absolutely count numbers. Yeah, 5 to go here from Coda. It looks secure. It looks like we've got the podium set. But, oh, it is not over. AJ Knickel did catch a bit there in the first part of the track. And Jurgensmeyer is back to the back of Justin Rott. Massive sideways moment for him. I believe we call those tank slappers. Oh, and here's another one for him. I mean, never mind, he just used that to make the corner. He's pretty much there on the 52 car. He just seems to try and get it done without missing hairpins. Such has been the primary difficulty of Juergensmeyer's race thus far. He just had a really bad time with locking the rear axle, or just the car just breaking itself apart at the apex of slow corners. Speaking of braking, nearly breaking his taillights, Juergensmeyer gets into the back of Justin Rott there. I believe the contact was inconsequential, but it was made nonetheless. Also, Juergensmeyer has absolutely overfueled that car. He's got 40 liters of fuel still in the thing. Meanwhile, the leaders have 14, 20. Matthew Daly just spun. I couldn't really tell because of the godforsaken trackside camera. There are no words. I'm really getting tired of that. So that'll put it back onto AJ to be on the hunt, to catch back up to Dylan Bam. And, for lack of better terms, take revenge for the dirty collision that they had made a handful of laps ago. I think it was actually just three ago. I don't want to be that guy and say that looked intentional, but like, that collision looked bad. That's also bad. Justin Rott spins to the apex of the second hairpin. Juergensmeyer takes the last second evasive maneuvers. And that will conclude that one for the time being. Juerg moves into 5th place. And he should be able to stay there so long as he keeps the car under him at the braking points. AJ's reeling him in, too. So I wonder if Dylan Bam has enough fuel. 12 liters of gas left in the tank. 4 laps to go. Well, basically like 3.5 now, but it's not a pretty picture, I must be honest. Oh! Sorry. Apologies for that noise. I just cracked my knuckles and it really hurt. God, I sound medically insane tonight. I don't have ADHD, but just from my own self-reflection, I feel like I do. Forget you! I'm going to bonnet, I'm going to riff cam, I'm going to an onboard camera. I'm tired of that little game of camera positioning chicken. I'm not playing this game with you, Project Cars, anymore. I'm hardly playing the game at all. I'm watching it be played by other people. And AJ is playing it well. He's got the gap down by another second or so since the end of the previous lap. He is reeling Dylan in, bit by bit. In the background, the battle for 5th place continues. Rott's caught back up to the 29 of Juergensmeyer. Oh my god, that's a huge moment. A huge slapper there. And Juerg is doing that. He is taking the full defensive line. What? Was there even an attempt to make that turn? That looked fake. That looked like Neymar rolling across the field after being bumped into by the opposing player. That was like Juerg was like, oh, there's a car there. Time to get out of the way. And just like hit the panic button. Oh, but he just caught Justin Rott asleep at the wheel there. And he gets back to 5th place nonetheless. Oh, but he's right back at him. Rott down the inside, Rott around. That's a track reset. You're not allowed to do that. Not for a half spin anyway. As we go back on board with AJ Knickel, the gap is down to just over a second to Dylan Bam. And I do seriously think he is running dry on that fuel tank. The game may be over for Dylan Bam here. Heavy on the brakes. Ugh! Nearly commit to Juergensmeyer there as he hits the apex. We're going to be looking at a battle any minute now. And it's going to be, what at this point must be round of 4 between this pair of drivers. And Matthew Daly is probably somewhere in the background licking his lips. He's only 2.5 seconds back. Everybody on the track except for Luke Allen has a time penalty. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time again, America. Circuit of the Americas. And now it is AJ trying to pry open that door. And it shouldn't be too hard. Dylan Bam's fuel, I don't think that's enough. He would need to use less than 3 per lap. AJ catches him lacking at the braking point. And AJ Kinnickle takes the lead away from Dylan Bam with just over 2 laps to go. In fact, he'll cross the take 2 to go right now. Does Dylan Bam have a return fire? No, he is lifting and coasting. He's just trying to get this car across the start-finish line with something in the fuel tank for the non-existent scrutineering at the end of the race. The most Dylan can do now, honestly, is try and hold up somebody and help his teammate Ramirez get back into the battle. But Ramirez himself isn't looking a whole lot better on the fuel either. It's been a good S section. Light fuel load can't stop Dylan from taking these corners fast. But he's running such a higher gear on exit that it's lost him over a 10th, despite making the better turn than Kinnickle did. And I'm surprised AJ's not just driving away. He's going to now, because Dylan is fuel saving, though. So, I suppose. Also, Ramirez has spun. He is not on the racetrack. He has spun at the second hairpin. Yeah, AJ Kinnickle is out of here. And now it's just down to Matthew Daly to seal the deal. Again, shouldn't be hard. Oh, yeah. No, he's cooked. Dylan Bam is not him. I don't think he can save enough fuel unless he literally just doesn't even accelerate. Oh, and high revs with massive snap oversteers, not gonna help. Here's Matthew. And Dylan, he just folds. There's nothing he can do. He doesn't have the fuel. He doesn't have the effort to expend, and he has no reason to hold him off at all. As Luis Ramirez made a mistake of his own. He's 12, 13 seconds behind the leader now. 10 behind Dylan. Although, ironically, he still may be on for a podium, because I don't think Dylan Bam is going to be getting across the line unless he runs literally the whole lap in 6th gear. As we have begun the last lap, which is probably just about the best news Dylan Bam could hear right now, but also probably puts him way on edge. I think Ramirez, well, he'll be running out probably as he crosses the line, but he doesn't need to get much further than that. Meanwhile, the 244R cars have 6 liters fuel, and it only takes, I think, about 4 for a lap here. Jurgensmeyer has missed turn 10 for what must be the dozenth time. I don't think dozenth is a word, but man, I'm making it one now. You can't stop me. Just a handful of turns to go. AJ Kinnickle will have claimed the victory. If Champ Inc. ran the show in the sprint round, it'll be the battle of attrition and consistency that has clearly won 44R the feature race today. Turn 19. And one more turn to go for the Canadian driver. Notch another one. It's a 1-2 finish for 44R. AJ Kinnickle will win the feature race from Circuit of the Americas. And just about 2 seconds back comes Matthew Daly for 2nd place. And it will be Dylan Bam just about making it to the line, but not by a whole lot. Ramirez also not making it by a whole lot. But it will be Ramirez getting third place. He is out of fuel, but he is able to make it across the start-finish line at about... He got there. He got it. And he literally ran out at the start. And DIVEBOMB didn't do any better. But they still do make it for third and fourth. Now, penalties say that Matthew Daly has won the race. But honestly, with the amount of possible penalties other drivers could get, I don't even know what to say about anything yet. I don't know what those penalties for AJ Kaneko were. 5 seconds. That might count. At least some of them probably will. Assuming they were from individual track cuts and extensions and not one lump sum. That was possibly wrong, because that wouldn't surprise me if it was. It'll just... Unofficially, AJ Kaneko is the winner, even though the game says Matthew Daly is the winner. But AJ was at least the first one across the start-finish line. And Jorgensmeyer will head through the final turn. He will be the 5th one to cross the start-finish line. He's battled with nearly every car in the racetrack today, but he only comes home with 5th place. Justin Rott, 6th, and Luke Allen slides across the triple apex. He has had an evening to forget. That is to say the least. But in a rare instance, we had 7 start, and we had 7 finish. While Luke crosses the line, I'm going to bring the ARC broadcast party into this one. And that will wrap things up from Circuit of the Americas. But podium interviews are foremost. Which is technically the top 4, since, you know, Dylan definitely got a podium in the sprint. Did Mirrors get in here?
Hey, Riker, treat this like before track limit penalties, because I'm getting mine looked at.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I worded it as, like, unofficially.
Yeah, a couple of the track limits penalties were pretty ridiculous, especially the one at the end of the straight. You'd, like, get pushed off and it'd make you slow down for, like, 8 seconds, so that's where those came from.
Now that the last interviewee is in here, I'll actually start with Ramirez, because he has the singular podium, and then probably wrap back around to oh, right, I forgot. My brain's still slowing down. My brain's been all over the place because of just the amount of contact that was made. And also just because my brain's all over the place. So, I guess actually then we'll just start with, just go in the order that you guys have finished in the feature. Starting with DIVEBOMB. Had a bit of a Toyota Supra moment. Ran out of fuel along with his teammate. Was it a miscalculation, or did the game lie to you?
It lied to me. And a crew chief, bless him, every time he's good to me. Here, he said, "Jack," until about 4 laps to go, when he said, "We've got 3 laps of fuel left." At that point, I had already been saving fuel, seeing the impending disaster that was going to happen.
Yeah, I noticed you were saving fuel for quite a while. Was there ever even a part of you that thought of trying to keep the 44-hour duo at bay, or were you just strictly focused on making the finish line?
I defended, but obviously, when
options limited.
You can do. Yeah, so I defended for all of one corner against AJ. Could have fought it more, but tried to finish. And we did, but it was not good.
And and then obviously, I guess made up for by the sprint race where you took a win that was hardly in a shadow of doubt. Were there any other things that went wrong other than the fuel that made the difference between this and the sprint, or was it really just the fuel tank?
I mean, me spinning didn't help, but also me not being able to get past AJ in that first bit also didn't help either. So, yeah, I'm just annoyed. I wanted to sweep this whole thing. It looked like I was going to be able to do that, but no, game says no.
Your fuel tank says no. Thirsty V8s. Excuse me. Moving on then to third in features, second in sprint, now that I remember what happened less than an hour ago. One Luis Ramirez, he had a dying fan or an adoring fan in the stream chat like the whole way through. Somebody named Valentina was in the comments cheering you on in Spanish.
Oh, that's my girlfriend, yeah.
I thought that might have been the case, because I'm like, Valentina's a female name, so... Yeah, I believe that they were seeing a bit of a delay because they were reacting to things that happened a lap ago. But, Alright, so... I remember the start of the feature race, you had contact with Luke Allen. Was that opportunistic, or was that netcode that caused that?
No, that was... I was able to get on the inside on the restart, and with everything going around on the outside, I felt like I was going to be able to take the lead, but Luke locked the brakes up in the turn, so he's playing for me. I have no idea what didn't happen anything.
I mean, I kind of thought that's sort of what happened, but it also looked like netcode because I didn't necessarily see the contact made, but that might have just been because of where the trackside camera put itself. The trackside cameras, just for full disclosure for you guys who haven't watched the stream, they are not great here. But, you also suffered the similar fate as your teammate. Both you and him were literally coasting across the front stretch. Was it the same case here as your teammate? Were you lied to by the game, or did you just straight up miscalculate the numbers?
The game told us that we're like 2 laps over the fuel when we put it in. So one thing confirm anything. Maybe Dylan used a little bit less because I didn't even realize I was running out of fuel until I passed Dylan because I genuinely didn't realize at all.
I think I noticed with about 3 to go that you weren't doing a whole lot better than he was on fuel. But...
To be honest, like, straight ago, I was pushing like hell. I was like 2 seconds faster than the leaders. I wasn't even thinking about anything else until I hit the wall.
And then... Yeah, that wraps up. Congratulations on, I think being the only driver... No, you and AJ both got 2 podiums in both rounds. Never mind. I was thinking Jur got 3rd. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't forget. I interviewed you this time. I almost forgot at Daytona. So then we moved to, I believe, second in feature, third in the sprint. Flip around from Luis. AJ Knickel. No, wait, no, I forgot the penalties. No, Matthew Daly. I'm still staring at the results screen, and I was like, oh, AJ's next on the list. No. Matthew Daly missed out in the sprint, but second, unofficially, in the feature. There's just a lack of pace in the sprint, I suppose. I mean, it's never really that simple, I suppose, but could it be boiled down to being that simple?
I think we had a couple of spins, but that's expected. It was a decent car this week, but there were still some spins that we had. So, and it was a little bit of attributed to pace. We saw that the champ cars were 30 seconds faster on average in the sprint. But we just had to keep it there, and unlucky we finished fourth, but we got it done in the feature unofficially. So
It depends on how you look at it.
yeah.
And then finally, now that I remember the very clear instructions that I was given, our future winner, and I think third in the sprint, AJ Knickel, who I know you and Dylan communicate. Were you aware he was low on fuel towards the end there, or were you just kind of going on autopilot?
I wasn't at all, actually. I had no idea until, we started closing pretty... Like, the closing wasn't crazy. It was like half a second a lap. It was like, oh, maybe we'll have a shot, but then it got more and more near the end, and then from there it was like, okay, something's up, but, yeah.
Something's wrong. You can feel it. I do remember, I believe it was lap 10, you and Dylan had a big collision. Since you were the one who I think was affected worse by that, I'll have you try and explain what kind of went on there, because again, the trackside camera wasn't the best view of the incident.
I mean, he said I moved over on him, and I don't feel like I did. I've been watching the clip back and forth, and I came through that like final kink and put the power down, and you know that like little section where you come down over the dip and there's a curb that unsettles the car. So we came down over that. Yeah, we came down over that, and I got unsettled and got in that outside curb, which just will pull you right off the track if you're not careful. So I had to get out of the throttle, and he went to the inside, but I was pointed kind of toward the apex. Mind you, I never changed my steering angle at all. Like, when I came off the curb, I was pointed toward the apex, and actually turned a little bit more to the right to give him more space, and then he turned right into the side of me. So I don't know, it seemed like he said he didn't move over. I am looking at the clip, and it shows me not moving over, so it is what it is. I won the race on track. We'll see what happens with time penalties, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say that's just how it goes.
It did look really bad from the. It did look really bad from the trackside camera. And honestly, if I didn't know any better, if it wasn't Dylan driving that car, I would have thought that was an intentional takeout. That's what the camera angle that I got showed to me was he literally just went straight for your quarter panel based on depth perception. It felt
the same as late models the other night, where I was on the straight and holding the line flat, and I just got hooked. So I knew I didn't turn the wheel, which is why I said I felt like I got wiped out, but it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess just obligatory, was it just pace in the thing? In the sprint, I forgot the word.
Oh, and what do you mean?
Like, was it just pace that you couldn't keep up with 44 or? God.
No, it was pace. Didn't have it. I wasn't really maybe in the same comfort zone as the champ guys, and that's fine. In the feature, I wasn't even really in the same comfort zone. Had he cleared me in the first stint, he probably would have won. But I know for next race, if it happens, depending on field size, that I will have to put a little more practice in, and that'll be that, I guess.
I guess it will be. Because I know that your alliance puts in a lot of track time to get telemetry and stuff set, so.
I mean, yeah, it's mainly just down to car feel, though. You get a good setup going, and I'm thankful for the work they put in the setups. And, yeah, it's good to race your teammates and the people who work with you on equal footing, and, yeah, just know you can get raced respectfully 99.9% of the time. Even if this was that 0.1, no hard feelings, so.
Especially since you still got ahead of him anyway. Who had fuel at the end? But with that said, as we wrap up today's race broadcast, quick mention to our different sponsors, our viewers, including Luisa's girlfriend, and everybody else involved in making this Auto Racing Connected broadcast. Primarily to DIVEBOMB Motorsport, ARC's premier partner. DIVEBOMB is a collaborative media project by motorsports fans and for motorsports fans. SimLeaguePro.com, ARC's league management partner. A forum-based page that helps community managers and drivers find leagues and pretty much any game or platform. SimWrap Market, iRacing's largest marketplace of professional-level livery designs, templates, custom designs, number sets, and other things for the creative sim racer on iRacing. To IMB Racewear, ARC's sim racing apparel sponsor. They sell sim racing gloves, boots, and more, all true built from the ground up, with the quality and precision that you need. To the Racing Rats, our Assetto Corsa modding partners, putting out high-quality, free mods, and working closely with us to host the American Endurance Championship, I believe it's called, on iRacing. Assetto Corsa. And finally, both to AJ Knickel Design and James McAdam Photography, our graphic design and photography partners, respectively. But from all of us here, it's farewell for now. See you at the next ARC event, which I believe is probably going to be Friday.